Now, previously, we had an example of processing the record in a sequential access files. Businesses store data in sequential order when they use the records for batch processing, which involves performing the same tasks with many records, one after the other. For many applications, sequential access is inefficient, and these applications, known as real time applications, which require that a record be accessed immediately while a client is waiting. A program in which the user makes direct requests is an interactive program. Now, for a customer, for example, if a customer telephones a department store with a question about a monthly bill, customer service representative does not want to access every customer account in sequence. Instead, the customer service representatives require random access files in which records can be retrieved directly in any order. And random access files are also called direct access files or instant access files. Now, you can use Java's file channel class to create your own random access files. A file channel object is an avenue for reading and writing a file. A file channel is seekable, meaning you can search for a specific file location and operations can start at any specified position. And we have a table here which shows some file channel methods in which we can use a byte buffer object. As its name describes, a byte buffer is simply a holding place for bytes waiting to be read or written. Now we have here a sample program for writing a random file to specific file. Now you can use the files class of the method new byte channel to get a byte channel for a path. Again, since we will be using the relative location or relative directory for our file to be created on where to save our data, we will be asking the user to enter the name. And the name will be saved in a relative directory and then converted to the absolute directory. And at first, we have to format our string of record to be recorded in a file. And we need to have the line separator for after each the record will be saved in a file. And for that, we will be using the system that get property an argument line dot separator. And we have to get the record size, which will be obtained from the length method of the uh, of each record to be saved in a file. And remember, we will be using the file channel object for for opening the file, reading the file, and closing the file, of course. So here, um, we can use the files class of the new byte channels method to get a byte channel for a path. This new byte channel method accepts path and the standard open option arguments that specify how the file will be opened. And at this time, reading the file and writing to a file. This byte channel um, will be used to return by a byte or new byte channel method can be cast to a file channel using this statement. Remember, we have the path of the URL on where the file is located, on which it is located on our program directory. And here we are going to ask the user to enter the employee number. Okay. And we are going to repeatedly ask the user to enter an employee number other than 999, which is the sentinel value for this while loop to stop. And since we are going to, or it is supposedly the file or the data that we are going to save to a file must be of a string type. Otherwise, you can encounter the input format exception. Okay, take note, the file must exist in the directory, right? So after um, entering the ID number, we are going to ask the user to enter the name, the pay rate. Take note, pay rate is of type string. And ID number, firstly, it is of type string. Okay, that is for the format of saving the file or saving the data to a file. Now, we are creating a byte array. For example, a byte array can be built from a string using the getBytes method. Then, the byte array, which is in this case data, can be wrapped into a byte buffer. Then, the field byte buffer can be written to the declared file channel with a statement of file channel object dot write. Then we can test whether a byte buffer's contents have been used up by checking the has remaining method. Of course, um, after which that the user will enter the sentinel value of 999, the file must be closed. Now let's try to run our program. And in our directory, we have already the file which is saved under the file name a.txt, in which by opening with Notepad, we have already the existing file of 999 records, in which at at 1000 records, since the first record is placed at position 0, and we have already saved two records here with ID number 004 in the name of Anna and the pay rate of 500. And here we have Ben at ID number 010. Now let's try to save another record to the same file. So the file name is a.txt. In our program is set to get the absolute value, the absolute um, directory on where this file is being saved. And now, for example, at position 12 or ID 12, we have to enter the name of Jose. And the rate is 2000. Next, at 15 ID number, Mary, with a pay rate of 2,500. Now let's try to quit program using the Sentinel value of 999. And let's try to visit again the file. So here at 12, we have Jose, and 15, we have Mary.